Welcome, English 1102 friends. This is another video from the Family and Community module. And in this video, we're going to go through 3 of the poems that are in the Family and Community module and on the syllabus. Those 3 poems are Alzheimer's by Kelly Cherry, about a dad who comes home and has Alzheimer's, a dad and a husband. First Thanksgiving by Sharon Olds, poem about a daughter coming home, a daughter who's gone away to college, and she comes home back to her mom's house for her first Thanksgiving home from college. And then Dead by Sarah Harwell, about mom's infant daughter and like how little kids go to sleep and sleep really hard, and when you're a new parent, a young parent, you're worried about your kid being asleep and how they might not wake up, you know. But about how hard little kids sleep, and then how as a parent you're stressed out and worried about them because you're a new parent. We're going to start. So we're going to start with Alzheimer's. We're going to start with the oldest, with the elderly parent has Alzheimer's. Go through First Thanksgiving and then work our way back down to the baby. Here is Alzheimer's. He stands at the door. A crazy old man back from the hospital, his mind rattling like the suitcase swinging from his hand that contains shaving cream, a piggy bank, a book he sometimes pretends to read, his clothes. So you find out that, and this whole poem is really just this one image of this person who is home from the hospital, and you find out as the poem unfolds, you find out that the crazy old man, the craziness is his Alzheimer's, because he doesn't know. He knows he's home, but he doesn't recognize his wife at the end of the story. So you get the scene at the beginning of the poem, which is him standing there. He's just gotten home from the hospital, so he's making this transition from the hospital back to his house. On the brick wall beside him, roses and columbines slug it out for space, claw the mortar. Part of what you get in this poem is he knows he's home, because, you know, he's lived here for a long time. He recognizes that this is home. The sun is shining, as it does late in the afternoon in England after rain. Sudden hardens the house, reifies it, strikes the iron grill work like a smithy. Sparks fly off, burning in the bushes, the rose bushes. He recognizes the rose bushes. He's like, those are my rose bushes. While the white wood trimmed to find solidity in space. This is his house, and so he knows this, you know, he's got control of this, he knows this fact. He remembers it as his, remembers the walkway he built between the front room and the garage, the rhododendron he planted in back, the car he used to drive. So he has all these memories, he has some memories. He remembers himself, a younger man in a tweed hat, a man who loved music. And so this is the beginning of this poem sort of showing you he's sort of lost in his own memories. Some of them he still hangs on to, others of them he's lost. There's no time for that now, no time for music, the peculiar screeching of strings, the luxurious fiddling with emotion. Other things have become more urgent. Other matters are now of greater import, have more consequence, must be attended to. The first thing he must do now that he is home, and you know he's made it back home, he knows he's home, is decide who this woman is, the old white-haired woman standing here in the doorway welcoming him in. And so what you get in this poem is he recognizes his house, he recognizes he's home, but because of his Alzheimer's, because of his condition, he doesn't recognize his wife, and he doesn't even know his own age. Like, he thinks of himself as this younger person because that's where he is in his mind, and so he doesn't recognize his wife. And so you get this sort of sad image at the beginning because he knows he doesn't know everything. He knows there's some mystery that he has to solve. The sad mystery is he doesn't recognize his own wife. So that is Alzheimer's, poem about that condition where the degenerative mental condition where you lose your memory. A sort of happier poem, a much happier poem, is First Thanksgiving. Like I said, this is told from the perspective of a mother whose daughter, this is her first Thanksgiving, that first fall she's been away at college, but she comes home for Thanksgiving and the mom's excited to have her back in the house. When she comes back from college, I will see the skin of her upper arms, cool, matte, glossy. She will hug me, my old soupy chest against her breast. I will smell her hair. What you get at the beginning of this poem is the mom's sort of older. She's an older mom. The daughter is young and fresh, and the mom's happy to have her young energy back in the house. She will sleep in this apartment. Her sleep like an untamed good object, like a soul in a body. She came into my life the second great arrival after him. So the dad and then the daughter, fresh from the other world which lay from within him, within me. Those nights I fed her to sleep, week after week, the moon rising and setting and waxing, whirling over the months in a slow blur around our planet. So when the little girl comes home, the daughter comes home from college, the mom remembers the first night she brought the daughter home from the hospital right after she was born, and those first nights they had together. So the daughter comes back home and is sleeping in the apartment again, and the mom remembers the first time they came home, the first time she came into the apartment when she was a baby. Now she doesn't need love like that. She has had it. So the mom recognizes this different situation. She will walk in glowing, we will talk, and then when she's fast asleep, I'll exult to have her in that room again, behind that door. So the mom's, of course, all happy that she has her child back in her house again, sleeping in her room. As a child, I caught bees by the wings and held them for seconds, looked into their wild faces, listened to them sing, then tossed them back in the air. I remember the moment the arc of my toss swerved and they entered the corrected curve of their departure. So you get this image at the end of this poem of the mom when she was a kid catching a bee and holding it and, sort of being interested, wanting to look closely at this little bee. And then she would finally let the bee go and she would throw it back into the air. But after it got thrown back in the air, it would start flying again. And so what she was taught, the image you get at the end of the poem is the bee, instead of being thrown into the air, starts flying in its own way again. And what she's trying to connect that to is the daughter and how she sort of launched the daughter into the world. But now the daughter is flying with her own wings, with her own energy, just like the bee. So like the bee is flying with its own wings on its own, it's generating its own force. And now the daughter is like old enough that she's doing her own thing and flying on her own, just like the bee. So the end of this poem makes this connection between the image of the bee and the image of the daughter who has come back home. And the mom's happy to have her back in the house, but realizes she's her own person doing her own thing now. So there's a younger parent with a younger child right there. And then Dead by Sarah Harwell. This is about a baby. The way my daughter sleeps, and you see the poem is dedicated to Hannah. You got to assume that's the child she's talking about. The way my daughter sleeps, it's as if she's talking to the dead. And so again, it's like the way little kids sleep. They're just dead to the world, and it's hard to wake them up when they really are just dead asleep. Now she is one. I watch her eyes roll backwards in her head, so it's like the daughter is so dead asleep that she is just, going to the other world. I watch her eyes roll backwards in her head, her senses fold one by one, and then her breathing quiets to a beat. When you're really hard asleep, your breathing slows down. Every night she fights this silent way of being with all the whining ammunition she has. Little kids fight going to sleep. They whine, they cry, they don't want to go. They just get tired, more and more tired, but they don't want to go to sleep. She wins a tired story, a smothered song, the small and willful links to life that carry her away. Little kids will be like, sing me a song, read me a story at bedtime. Welcome to the Egyptian burial. She's gone to Hades. If you don't know Hades, he's the king of the underworld in Egyptian and Greek mythology, with her stuffed animals. So you get this sort of funny image of the underworld, but the little girl is down there with her stuffed animals that are in her bed. When she wakes, the sad circles disappeared, the circles under the little baby's eyes. She blinks before she knows me. I have listened to 1,000,000 breaths of her. And every night my body seizes when she leaves to go. So the mom's worried about when she goes to sleep. She's worried about her and how her breathing slows down and that kind of thing. Where she leaves to go where I am not, and yet every night I urge her, go, go. So the mom is worried about her when she goes to sleep, but she's also exhausted because she's a young parent and she's like, yes, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. So you get this sort of contrast of how the mom is worried about her because her breathing slows down and she's sleeping so hard. But the mom is also like, yes, go to sleep, because the mom needs her to go to sleep and needs her to rest, and the mom needs to rest too. So this is about how little kids just sleep so hard that, you know, it's like they're dead asleep kind of thing, and the mom is worried about her when she's sleeping, but also like, yes, go to sleep, go to sleep. That gives you 3 poems about family and community. You know, you get the husband who doesn't recognize his wife and Alzheimer's. First Thanksgiving, you get the mom sort of celebrating the daughter being home. And then Dead, you get this young parent who is worried about her child, but who also is like, yes, go to sleep. Hopefully that helps you understand these 3 poems and helps you understand how they all in different ways fit in the family and community module. If you have any questions about any of these or about any of these authors, just be in touch with me and we can talk through them more. Thanks a lot, everybody.